Hey everyone, my name is Daniel, and in this video, I'm going to help you think through before creating autonomous agents, try schedule prompts. Because I know you are constantly either getting requests or ideas to go ahead and build agents, and some of them are autonomous agents, but you'll be pleasantly surprised that all of these requests and ideas that you get for autonomous agents, it can easily be accomplished in a schedule prompt. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire process of how these schedule prompts work, specifically what it can do, what its limitations are, and what it cannot do. I'll walk you through the whole thing. So stick around. This is very important both for end users and administrators. But first, here's my intro video. So before a technical deep dive, let's just have a quick overview of what schedule prompt is and autonomous agents in Copilot Studio. So for the schedule prompt, you need a Microsoft 365 Copilot license. And once you have that, when you come to Microsoft 365 or m365.cloud.microsoft, under the chat, when you go and put in a description like this is called as a prompt, something to basically go ahead and get the today's news about the tech industry, specific things like Microsoft, Google, X, Meta, stuff like that. And then you want just a summary of all the stock options. Once you do this, the Copilot will go ahead and give you a brief summary. And also I requested to basically even have a small, quick visual chart. This is really great information. And I would really benefit from getting something like this at least on a weekly basis, maybe towards the beginning of the week or the end of the week. So instead of me coming over here and doing a copy and paste every single day, you see this option on the top, it is said schedule this prompt. This is what I mean by scheduling this prompt. And I'll further deep dive into that. So this is on the schedule prompt side. On the Copilot Studio side, here's an example of an agent which I have demoed so many times in my other videos. You're welcome to go take a look at that. Interesting thing over here is this is an autonomous agent. And what triggers this agent is anytime there is a form that is filled out asking informations about this item, which is coffee machines, this agent will go and take a look at its knowledge and actually provide a response back using Microsoft 365 Outlook. So you see, they do have similarities. They go ahead and get information from the knowledge that you have, and both of them will do it without any user interface. One of it is schedule versus over here, it is autonomously triggered. So now you understand that there are some similarities between the two, but what I am asking you is that before you come down this path of building autonomous agents in Copilot Studio, take a look at schedule prompts because you'll be pleasantly surprised how much this can offer. And so now I'm going to deep dive into schedule prompts. So it's very critical that for this entire schedule prompt to be successful, you need to have a very good prompt. So I urge you to actually test that a few times before you go ahead and schedule it. So here's my scenario. Let me just show you what I have. I basically want a prompt that will go ahead and scan through my entire Teams messages, emails, and calendar items, and then cross-reference that with a very important contact list that I have to give me 3 of these criteria. And my criteria are very simple. I basically want the prompt to go ahead and highlight any emails that are marked as high importance or team messages that are also marked as important or urgent. That's one. Second, I want a summary of, again, Teams messages, Outlook emails, and calendar items with something called negative sentiment analysis. Basically anything that has any frustration or dissatisfaction. And this is critical because to achieve this one feature in Copilot Studio, you would actually have to go ahead and use AI Builder and call that as an action or maybe even use it as an AI flow. There is some additional work required on Copilot Studio side. However, over here, it's just part of the prompt. This is one of the reasons I ask you to try this first. Okay, and the last one is basically a summary again of all these messages. And just to check and see, is somebody asking me for an approval or a review or some kind of sign off? See, 3 very important things which I need to be aware of. And then finally, provide me all that information in this format. I literally said, hey, provide me an emoji in its title, give me the date and time, all the way down to direct link to the team messages or some citations. And then also give it to me in a table format. So as you can tell, I did spend some time working on this prompt. So what I'm going to do is actually copy this, pasted and also reference that Excel spreadsheet. So here you go. I've pasted the whole thing. I'm going to click on this plus. I'm going to say add content. And this is that Excel spreadsheet. And if you're interested, it's in my OneDrive. I actually got it over here. And this is what my spreadsheet looks like. It basically have names and email addresses. I put in email addresses in this side because it could be somebody not in my company. And therefore, the name can be confusing. The email address will be very important because it might come out from an external user. So I've got this over here. Let me just scroll all the way to the bottom and I'll make sure that, yep, okay, it's got the exact same Excel spreadsheet name. So I'm going to go ahead and click on start and it'll at least give me a taste of what I want. So the Copilot is going through searching all of my information and it is going to go ahead and give me an overview. After the analysis piece is done, it really gives me a good overview exactly the way I've asked it, including the table format. Now, it is true that the first time, depending on the complexity of your prompt, it might take time. See, in my case, it is already going through the second analysis phase. But here you go. It has actually started everything. And it's also giving me in the exact same way. See the emojis, the high important ones? All of this is pretty awesome. Now, also use this opportunity for Copilot to help you make improvement. I'm going to say, take a look at my prompt and provide me suggestions for improvements. Go ahead and hit enter, and it will actually continue the conversation. I'm actually pretty happy because it's saying your original prompt is already quite clear and well structured. Thank you. Thank you. I feel really good about that. It says, but here are some suggestions. And that's what I wanted. I wanted suggestions. So it's going and giving me all of this information. I'm pretty happy with it. In fact, here is some really neat ones. Like this is the one that I want, all right? So you do what works well for you, but I highly recommend you do that as well. There is always room for improvement. Okay, so now let's go back to the top one over here, all right? So this is the information that I got the first time. What I want to do is schedule it. So there's two places to do that. One of them is right on the top. Right on the top, when you come over here, you should see that schedule prompt. And sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. If you don't see it over there, don't panic. What you do is you come down, scroll all the way to the end, and right over here in the ellipsis, you click on that, and this is the option, schedule this prompt. Click on that, and here is a pop-up window that shows up, and I want to make sure I spend some time over here on this configuration. So the first thing, this is schedule a prompt. So you guessed it, there is actually a Power Automate Cloudflow running in the backend, but I'll cover that in a few other minutes. First thing, this is the prompt that we put in. So that's great. Next, it says, send me the results in Copilot chat. So what do you mean by Copilot chat is right over here. Under this conversation section, this is where you will see your schedule prompt. And you will actually see a green color circle tied to it. Here, I've actually put an image over here. This is what it will look like. Next is repeating this prompt. And here is where it gets really interesting. So remember I said I'll talk about some limitations? Here is the first one. You see this run? There is a limit of 15 times. This run means the total number of times this prompt will run. It's going to run 15 times as the max. So what that means is that, say if I go ahead and want this prompt to show up all 5 days of the weeks. So that's 5 this week. That's 5 next week, and 5 the week after. That's 5 plus 5 plus 5, 15, which means this prompt will only work for 3 weeks. Make sense? Good, because that's very important. That is what this run means. So you can go ahead and play around with that and make the best decision for you. Because why? Under every, you've got these options. You can go ahead and do it on a daily basis. You can go ahead and do it on a weekly and also do it on a monthly. What's interesting is that when you do it on a month, this option disappears and the run automatically gets updated to 12. Why 12? Well, because there's only 12 months. And for that, you can go ahead and schedule it to making sure it's at the beginning of the month or end of the month, like you make that, all right? So again, in this case, if you do it on a monthly basis, you will easily get covered by an entire year. So make sure that you schedule it properly because that does affect your run time. And that is the most important thing on scheduling it. Now, I urge you to really make sure this is all correct because there is no way to come back and edit this. I know that really sucks. There is no way to come and edit it. Once you do it, it will save and that's it. So make sure you get this right. I do, so I'm going to go and click on save. Once I click on save, it is coming over here and it is saying creating. And as you can see, I've already gone ahead and created some other prompts. So after creating is done, it will go ahead and say initializing. And over here, there's nothing else you have to do. You can just go ahead and wait, or you can leave and come back. It will all get finished. So here is the second limitation that I want to show you. You only can go ahead and put in a total of 10 prompts. So in my case, I've actually gone ahead and added 9 before, and over here, I've already added my 10th one. These are the active ones. If I scroll down, I have my inactive ones. Inactive ones these were the prompts that I went ahead and created, and now they are complete. And the complete ones cannot be reused. So you see in this one on the ellipsis, if I click on it under options, there is no way for me to go ahead and restart it. Only option I have is delete. If I click on it, I can see the prompt, so maybe I could go ahead and copy it and use the text and start another one, but there is no way for me to go and restart. So here's an example I want to go through, all right? Let me just go and grab this one over here. This is the one that I nicely created. I'll come back and I'll try to schedule this one. I'll click on this guy. Okay, I'll leave everything as is. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on a weekly basis. And on the weekly basis, on a Friday morning, I'll click on save. You see immediately this message came up. It says, you've reached the limit of your 10 active scheduled prompts. It is actually telling me that. So it says to add a new one, turn off or delete an active prompts. So this is the proof that it only looks at the active prompt. Now, what happened to the one that we were creating? Well, you don't actually lose it. If you scroll all the way down, it becomes as an error. The error says there was a problem saving the scheduled prompt. It doesn't really help, but basically what happened is you hit that limit of 10. So at least it was nice that it just didn't go ahead and delete it off. It put it in the inactive list. And over here, it's pretty nice because once, say, I go ahead and pick any other one right over here, I go ahead and kind of delete this one, the deleting process has started, it gets deleted. I can come down over here, I can click on this ellipsis and I can say try again. Once I try again, it takes it all the way up to the top and it will start creating it, initializing it, and it goes ahead and saves it. Obviously, we've hit 10 again, so it's giving me that limit. So this is a good thing that you don't lose any of the prompts that you created when you hit the max. It comes down to the bottom with an error. You can always go ahead and clear your list and then add it back. So that's a limitation, but here's how we can overcome that by cleaning it up. But that number 10, that stays. There is nothing you can do about that. But there is a workaround. The workaround is for each of these prompts that you have, go ahead and bookmark it. Save that prompt. So I can go and save this one over here, give it a nice title, and then I'll go and click on save. Anytime you want any of this bookmark, you have a link over here, but then another easy way to find it is scroll all the way down to where you put the message and you see this view prompts, click on that. It'll have this pop-up window. By default, the suggested tab is selected, but the one on the right, that's your prompts. And you click it, this is where you will see all the prompts that you bookmark. So this is a good workaround, right? If the schedule one is say on a once a month base, then fine. That limitation of 15 runs won't be a problem. But if it's a daily one, and if you're doing it 5 times a week, then 3 weeks is your max. So for those type of scenarios, after you run out of 3 weeks, go ahead and bookmark it. That way you can always come at your convenience, select what you want to do. It'll already be ready over here and you can just go ahead and click on next and it will just do the work for you. This is a really good workaround for that 15 runs limit. But we're not done yet because there's 2 more limitations that you absolutely need to know. The first one is the work or web mode. So as the name suggests, work is where you go ahead and use the prompts to go and find your internal work information, such as your Outlook calendar, Teams messages, files in your OneDrive. These are all work-related things. And I showed you an example of that. However, if you are in the web mode, you can still use the prompt, but you cannot schedule it. So remember that initial demo that I showed you to go ahead and pull information about all the stock options for these companies? Let me go and hit that enter again because this will also work on the web mode because these are all public information that is already available. So it goes ahead and gets all of this thing. It is still running because I see that stop button over here. Once the analysis is complete, and it will go ahead and get me all the information like it's completed now. If I scroll all the way to the top, I do not see the option to schedule over there, but that can happen sometimes. So let's go all the way to the bottom over here and I don't see the schedule prompt. Just to be on the safe side, if I come over here, I don't see it. Also, just as the final check, if I come on the top right, I don't see the schedule prompts. And this is proof that on the web side, the prompts can be used to get public information, but you absolutely cannot schedule it. So any web related stuff that you want to do, you can also do that in your work side and go ahead and schedule that. And the last limitation is that users need to have the full Microsoft 365 Copilot license. The PAYG or pay-as-you-go model does not work. And let me prove that to you over here as well. I have over here another user's name is Rosanna. This user is licensed on a pay-as-you-go model. And I'll go ahead and create a whole new conversation altogether. Come over here to the right. I'll go and put in this exact prompt, hit enter, and you can see that on the PAYG model side also, the prompt piece is working. And even for internal stuff, I could do the exact same thing. Go ahead and take a look at all the messages and find out some important ones. You know, like demo that I showed you before, that will also work on this PAYG model. But the only thing you cannot do is schedule it. So in this case, it is still working. It's going and finishing up the last piece, which is giving me that visualization chart. But see, it is completed. Now, if I go on the top right over here, I do not see the option to schedule, but schedule. Again, just to verify, if I go all the way to the bottom, I do not see the option to schedule over here. And the final place to check, on the top right, again, do not see the option to schedule. So this is also proof that in the PAYG model, scheduling of the prompts is not an option. For that, you need the full Microsoft 365 Copilot license. So everything that I talked about so far was from an end user perspective. What I want to do is switch gears now and look at it from an admin side. And the first question you as an admin should have is, Daniel, where are the schedules of this prompt stored? Now, remember I just told you that it is that these are a lightweight version of a Power Automate Cloud Flow. And that should be your biggest clue, because cloud flows are saved in, yes, in an environment. So the moment the first prompt is scheduled, if you as a Power Platform admin go into your PPAC, which is Power Platform Admin Center, you go to your environments, you will immediately see a Microsoft 365 environment of a type production in your region, and the release cycle will be standard. The date will also tell you when the first prompt was scheduled. Now, about this environment, there are some few important things that you need to know. And let's go to the Microsoft documentation for that. See, under environment provisioning, it will say that users don't have direct access to either create, execute, or share connections to build apps, flows, data flows, bots, whatever. Runtime also are strictly limited to Microsoft owned first-party apps, which is basically the schedule prompts. Basically, this environment is heavily restricted. So it's not that you can have a Microsoft 365 environment and then go use it for other stuff. No, none of that will work. Another really important thing is right over here. All connectors are blocked except for these three of them: Microsoft 365 Copilot Actions, Microsoft Teams, and the Office 365 Outlook. Another important thing is that your tenant level or even your environment level DLP policies do not apply to the Microsoft 365 admin. What it is talking about is in your PPAC, when you go to your security under data privacy, under data policy, these do not affect that Microsoft 365 environment. This environment only has access to these three connectors. A very important thing that admins need to be aware of. And the plus side over here is that this is one less environment that you need to be aware of, because it is already locked down and these are the only three connectors that are allowed. And the final admin piece is the reporting side. Is it a place where I can go and see all of these schedules? And currently, there is no user interface on any of the admins in PPAC or in M365 that you can go and get a list of all of them. What you can do is go ahead and get an inventory of all these scheduled prompts using PowerShell. So you have to have both of these modules, the Azure Accounts module and also the Power Platform Administration. And you have to run these PowerShell scripts to go ahead and actually get an export of the entire list. Also, if you want to go ahead and delete any of your prompts, there is again no user interface for that. You have to go ahead and use these PowerShell scripts. And they've done a good job by at least telling you what the script is and to go ahead and get what IDs. So this is here, but all of this can only be controlled from a PowerShell script standpoint. So you will need to have those two prerequisites, the Azure one and the Power Platform Admin. And this is the only way that you can get a report and also do deletions of any scheduled prompts that have gone rogue. So yes, there are some limitations in scheduled prompts, but they should not deter you from keeping it as the first option before you go down the path of creating autonomous agents in Copilot Studio. And I have first-hand experienced it. In schedule prompts, you can go and get all of this user information and even get sentiment analysis all on the basis of a prompt. If you had to do that in Copilot Studio's autonomous agent side, you will have to start to use AI Builder, a whole bunch of tools, and really tweak your instructions over there. Hopefully this video has been useful to you, and as always, keep using schedule prompts. Hey, if you have a few seconds, can you click on that like button and even consider subscribing it? Because it's just 2 easy clicks for you, but boy, it makes a big difference for me. Also, if you don't mind, can you put in a comment below? Because that really boosts this video up to reach a higher audience. And once again, thank you for watching this video.